Tarot cards. Jane Lyle. Contains an introduction to tarot, the major arcana, the minor arcana, a step-by-step guide to reading the tarot. Introduction. What is tarot? Once condemned as the rungs of a ladder leading to the depth of hell, tarot cards have fascinated people for centuries. Prized by gypsies and magicians, linked with witchcraft and denounced as heretical by medieval churchmen, tarot has survived every twist and turn of fortune. Today, decks are widely available, while tarot enjoys an unprecedented popularity. The standard modern tarot deck consists of 78 cards. These are divided into two sections: the minor arcana, which means lesser secrets, consisting of 56 cards, and the remaining 22 cards, which are known as the major arcana, meaning greater secrets. It is the latter card which have variously intrigued, enraged and puzzled scholars, moralists and a mixed bag of other seekers after the truth, including mystics, psychologists and occultists. The lesser secrets. The minor arcana contains its own mysteries. At first glance, it clearly resembles the deck of playing cards most people are familiar with. It is divided into 4 suits: wands, also known as staves or batons; pentacles, also known as coins or discs; swords and cups. Each suit consists of numbered cards from ace to 10 and 4 court cards. These suits are easily linked with suits of an ordinary deck. Wands corresponds to clubs, pentacles to diamonds, hearts to cups, and spades to swords. Indeed, the name playing cards may have been coined to clarify the difference between these cards and the ever mysterious major arcana. In modern Italy, they still played a card game called Toraci with the minor arcana. The actual symbols representing each of the minor suits also appears elsewhere in myths and legends. In Ireland, the legendary people of the goddess Dana, Tuatha Dé Danann, spoke of 4 magical treasures: a cauldron, spear, stone and sword. Similar symbols are found in Hindu art: the cup, scepter, ring and sword. Perhaps the most thought-provoking link is with the Greek goddess of fate herself, Nemesis, whose symbol included a cup, a wand of apple wood, a wheel and a sword. Such symbols are also linked with the 4 elements of the ancient world: fire, earth, air and water. In turn, these forms one of the foundation of Western astrology, which groups the 12 signs of the zodiac into 4 larger groups, each governed by its element. The greater secrets. The major arcana remains elusive, for it does not obviously correspond to anything we can recognize today, like the enigmatic statues on Easter Island, the inexplicable existence of stone circles, or sighting of ape man in the Himalaya. These 22 cards have spanned an imaginative range of theories regarding their origin. Ancient Egypt is a popular background for speculation. Some stories connect the cards with the writings of Hermes Trismegistus, legendary mystic sage and supposed author of the Emerald Tablet, and other magical manuscripts. Gypsies, a word believed to derive from Egyptian, are thought by some sources to have carried the tarot cards with them from India during their travels. Other stories claims that when the great library at Alexandria was destroyed, the ancient city of Fez became a center for mystics and philosophers who traveled there from the 4 corners of the earth. These wise men had a little trouble communicating with one another, since they all spoke different languages. So the story goes, they created a symbolic pictorial language of their own, which was designed to encapsulate universal knowledge and spiritual truth. Some historical facts. Colorful speculation aside, the idea that the Major Arcana is a book of esoteric teaching is probably not far from the truth. The reason for this conclusion is based on what is known of tarot history. What seems to be the earliest existing tarot card, of which 17 remain, date from 1392. 30 years later, an Italian artist called Bonifacio Bembo painted the only full deck which survives from those times. These were commissioned by the Duke of Milan and are known as the Visconti deck after his family name. So, if tarot card did exist prior to the 1300s, there is slender evidence to support such a theory, but that is not to suggest that the ideas and belief behind tarot's powerful images are as recent as the card themselves. Certainly, a number of images found in the Major Arcana seem to be essentially medieval, drawing on key figures and concepts of the time. The Pope, the Magician or Juggler, the Fool, and the Day of Judgment would all have been familiar concepts, very much everyday features of the medieval world and mind, and seem to suggest that tarot is a purely medieval invention. But what about the surreal landscape shown on the moon, and how can we explain the presence of a high priestess, a concept which is still anathema to some Christians, or the topsy-turvy figure of the hanged man who remains serenely alive? These images point to a much older system of belief, for they have their roots in pre-Christian times. Picture this. Medieval Europe was a dangerous place for heretics. By recording secrets, philosophies, and teachings visually, those who disagreed with prevailing doctrines may have thought they had found a safe way to pass on their knowledge without incurring persecution. The Renaissance practice of using what are called our memorativa, that is, pictorial memory system, was an integral part of the whole occult movement at that time. This idea, intended as a meditation aid, was adapted from ancient Greece. Examples are found on talismans and amulets of the period. Tarot cards easily have been a highly sophisticated pictorial memory system and is still used as a focus for contemplation today. The influence of the Golden Dawn. Astrology, Gnosticism, ritual magic, and the complex Hebrew Kabbalah have all been linked with the tarot and have influenced its interpretation. Many of these correspondences were devised or refined during the Great Occult Revival that took place in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The Golden Dawn, a short-lived but powerful magic order, was particularly notable in this respect. Arthur Edward Waite's book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, was published in 1910. Another member of the Golden Dawn, artist Pamela Colman Smith, designed a deck of cards under his direction. This deck remains very popular and is pleasant and helpful to use. Another former member, self-styled great beast and controversial magician Aleister Crowley, also published a guide to the tarot. The disquieting but beautiful images were illustrated to his specification by Lady Frida Harris, a talented painter. These images were first available as actual cards in 1969, 22 years after Crowley's death. They are known as the Thought Tarot after the name of his book, The Book of Thought. Psychology and the Tarot. Much modern tarot interpretation is influenced by popular psychology in general and by Jungian psychology in particular. Carl Gustav Jung, 1875-1961, originally a pupil of Sigmund Freud, broke away from Freud's system of psychoanalysis to establish a richly symbolic system of his own. His almost mystical concern with the spiritual nature of mankind and his fascination with oracles, dreams, and astrology was in many ways closer to ancient occult teachings than psychology. In Memories, Dreams, Reflection, he wrote that the collective unconscious is common to us all. It is the foundation of what the ancient called the sympathy of all things. Amongst his writings, he records numerous examples of personal psychic experiences. These include telepathy, prophetic dreams, visions, and even a ghost sighting. Jung's theories are complex. Basically, however, he saw the human psyche in three parts: the conscious, personal unconscious, and collective unconscious. Powerful universal figures called archetypes dwell within both the personal and collective unconscious. These archetypes surface in myths, fairy tales, and legends. They can also be seen in the images of the major arcana. Symbolic beings such as the fertile mother, the empress, the authoritarian father, the emperor, the wise old man, the hermit, are archetypal figures found in the tarot. These dreams-like images, say Jungians, help unconscious knowledge to surface. When they appear in a tarot reading, they combine to form a meaningful pattern which relates to the inquirer's current situation or difficulties. They also, like other serious oracles, reflect the deeply hidden underlying motives, fears, and desires which can mold the individual destiny. Divination and the tarot. Tarot cards should never be regarded as a simple method for telling fortunes. Ordinary playing cards can be used for this purpose and are better suited to you will meet a tall, dark stranger school of soothsaying. The tarot is, amongst other things, a tool for divination. It can be used to analyze problems, clarify the decision-making process, or even help you to understand yourself and others a little better. It can stimulate intuition and help the mind to escape from the habitual straitjacket of logical thought into a more free-feeling world. Know thyself were the words carved above the entrance to the celebrated Delphic oracle. Self-awareness is essential both when revealing the cards for another and when trying to understand what they are telling you. Personally, self-knowledge and acceptance are what all forms of serious divination are really about. When the cards are used to predict the future, they can be uncannily accurate but will invariably point to possibilities rather than probabilities. They also, if interpreted correctly, direct the inquirer's attention to the forces shaping his or her path in life and often present choices or suggest courses of action. This then places the responsibility for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness firmly in the inquirer's own hand. Where it ultimately belongs. Synchronicity and prediction. Nobody really knows for certain how a set of cardboard pictures could possibly reveal anything about the present, let alone the future. Perhaps Jung's theory of synchronicity comes closest to giving us a quasi-scientific explanation. Synchronicity crudely means meaningful coincidence, a term used by Jung and eminent physicist Wolfgang Pauli. These two great minds collaborated in an attempt to define clusters of coincidences which they believed were ultimately governed by some mysterious principle. Most scientists would ascribe a series of mysterious or amazing coincidences to chance, but Jung believed that such events contain a meaningful message because the more of them there are, the more unbelievable they become. Therefore, there must be a purpose behind them, a guiding force which transcends the old scientific favorites cause and effect. So when the cards are laid out and are seen to form a pattern which makes complete sense to the inquirer, the law of synchronicity could be working within the scenes. Or if you prefer, it is simply an example of the old esoteric maxim, as above so below. A minute part of the greater pattern is being revealed as the veil of incomprehension, a briefly twist aside.